Okay, so it's almost 4:04, and I just want to welcome everyone to Tableau User Group. This is the second adventure of a cross-Canada event, and I'm pleased to allow Fraser to present here today and kick us off. So Fraser, take it away.
Take it away. Okay. To just say hi, I'm Fraser. I work with Onware. We're a Tableau consultant. We do a lot of work with the construction industry, but not kind of limited to that. And I've been using Tableau since just before I put the picture from Tableau Conference 2015 there. It was like the year before that is when I kind of got started with Tableau. And so I wanted to actually show this was like one of the very first visualizations that I made. And I was very proud of myself that I could create that. But because I had a software background, this was like the first time that I could see one of our big databases. And that was like 10 years of data in a single viz, which was like very much light bulb going on above my head, and made that my job. And so now I get to work on very big prep flows, Tableau prep flows.
Wow.
You can see that one is one of the biggest ones that we've created, where we're actually taking data from 5 different companies and combining it together to give a single order source across the entire business. So there was a company that purchased a bunch of other companies, and we brought all their data together into one dashboard, and we run that flow every day to bring in all their data. So that's the kind of fun stuff that I get to deal with a lot of the time now. So just to talk about the agenda for today, we're, welcome is right now. I'm going to talk a little bit about Tableau Conference because it's coming up in about almost 20 days, maybe a little bit plus or minus one day. I know I'm leaving on the Sunday before, so I can enjoy Vegas for a day before the conference starts. And then Julie is going to talk about Tableau Server. We'll have some question and answer time after that completes. And then before we wrap up, we're going to do a Kahoot and have some prizes. So nice agenda for today. Looking really forward to having this event and getting people involved from across the country. So first of all, Tableau Conference, like I mentioned, my first conference was in 2015, and I was just like super blown away to go to a Tableau conference. So it's really good that we have the opportunity to do it in person again this year. I told everyone, I basically booked my hotel on the day that it was announced, and then the registration opened. I was like in there right away to make sure I got my spot. I like to say, like, if Microsoft has a conference, they'll have like conferences for Microsoft users, and they're like 15,000 people, but that's like all of Microsoft. Tableau is like one product, right? And we have 15,000 people that all love the product, that are all kind of getting together to talk about it and learn more. So it's like no other conference, I'd say, that I've been to go to Tableau conference. So if you haven't bought a ticket yet, highly recommend going in person if you can. If not, there is also the virtual event, which is also totally worth going to for at least the keynotes, but there's so many other sessions. The sessions are all kind of divided up into skill levels. And I checked the website. I don't know, on the historical sessions, it now says advanced, but it used to say Jedi. I was wondering how long that would last before, like, Disney said lawsuit to Tableau. So maybe it did happen, and now they're advanced sessions. They're not Jedi sessions, but what I would recommend is actually leveling up. So if you think you're beginning with Tableau, go to an intermediate sessions, or take in some advanced sessions. I think it's really valuable to be able to see what's possible. So in some of the higher level sessions, you're going to see some like really amazing things that people are doing with Tableau, and you don't have to like learn how to do it there. The conference is a really good place to see what's possible and what you can do with the tool. So if you're just starting out, definitely worth kind of leveling up a little bit and going to some of those other sessions. And then one of the big highlights of the whole thing is the data night out, which is just a huge party. Last time there was an in-person event in Vegas, they actually like rented a whole casino resort for the night. I can't recall the name. the other panelists remember, but it was basically they had the entire casino resort for Tableau for the conference party. So we went over there and had a great party. So there's just lots of good events. There's the Data Village is the place where all the vendors are located, and they have a aptly named bar chart where you can go get your drinks in the evenings too. And then also I had a friend that texted me this. Apparently there's a restaurant in Wynn that everybody needs to check out for the week of the conference. I don't know if the food's any good, but the name is correct. So that's that. So actually that's about it that's all I want to say for Tableau conference. So like I said, highly recommended. Make sure you block some time on your calendar to attend the virtual event if you can't go in person, but if you can go in person, it's definitely worthwhile.
In New Orleans, there was a restaurant named Tableau too, by the way, in the conference in New Orleans. Yeah.
Those guys made their best profit ever that year, I'm sure. So the presentation today, our presenter is Julie Sauvageau. I had said I had to practice the name a little bit to get it correct, and then she told me yes, it sounds like Tableau, which is pretty cool. Julie actually has the same background as me, software development, and before moving into Tableau, which is maybe that's a theme. She's also attended 7 conferences, was a speaker at 2 of the conferences. So definitely like an expert when it comes to Tableau. Right now she's at the Tableau Center of Excellence at TD Bank. And you know, the one fact that's not on the slide I had to get to including here is that she's been a vegan for 6 years. So welcome to Julie for offering to do the presentation today. We're all looking really forward to hearing what you have to say. So I'll turn it over to you, and you can tell us all about Tableau Server and how it's more than just dashboard.
Thank you. And I see people dropping on the line since you say I'm vegan. No, I'm joking. people are leaving. Just to set expectations, it's really about Tableau Server. It's true. It's not technical. It's more around the journey we had at TD Bank. So how the Tableau Server was implemented, and really I will focus on what was so successful for us, and that I see sometimes that other organizations are not doing. We have a special situation where we have our own servers. So not all of them material I will present is always possible if you are on the cloud, of course, but you still need to think about those things that you need to manage other than the server, the community, how to have the tool with a good adoption, things like that. So even if you don't have the server, you don't use the server, you are a Tableau fan only, you do visits only, stay on the line because we have price at the end, but not only because of that, because you may learn, interesting things about the server that may serve you later in your organization if they decide to implement Tableau, or if eventually you are sit at a table where they discuss things, you may have this idea, oh, I remember I saw this presentation where they were talking about that. It's very important to consider that. So stay on the line. You may learn something that may help you later. And on that, I will share my screen right now. Do you want to continue? Yes, yes, yes. There you go. Okay. And let me, wait a minute. Share screen 1, share. Okay, so I will share in a second the agenda. Okay, so you can see my screen. Just do me a thumbs up, someone.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
Perfect.
Or no, we're seeing your presenter view actually right now.
Oh, you see the wrong one. Okay,
yeah.
Wait, I will share the other one. Okay, thank you. Screen 2. This one, there you go. This is a good one, right?
Yes, got it.
Perfect. So key events for us, what happened at TD Bank. So I will do a quick overview on the key events to implement the server. And this will explain why it's, we are in this situation right now at TD, and what is the situation. What was ready for the users. So when we did start for real, the enterprise solution. So what kind of learning, what kind of support, what was there for the community, even if the community didn't exist yet. So this is a huge thing, because we were really ready to onboard people. Other key elements, so how to promote best practices. So you will realize by the rules we did implement on Tableau Server, and because we did implement some data patterns and limitation in the security and in the pattern, what the users can do, because we got that very, very, limited for the user, this helped us to push for the best practices. So it's kind of, you need to balance what the users can do versus what you want to do for the governance and to control everything. So you cannot be too control freak, because you will lose this self-service tool that is the objective of Tableau. You want the people to access the data. You want the people to share visualization. But at the same time, you have all this governance side that is really annoying. And when we are in a bank, like I am, the rules, you can list them. There is a lot. So you need to have a governance around the data classification, what the user can do, can see, especially the data in a bank is very important. So I will explain what limitation we did implement and how this helped, in fact, to have a better efficiency overall for all the dashboards we have. And I will also do an overview of the tools we have. We have the chance to have our own server. It means that we can access the backend data in the Postgres, but I believe if you are on the cloud, you may have something similar, or if you don't, you can contact Tableau and push to have something similar maybe. So I'm talking sometimes at Tableau to Tableau people and telling them we need that. You need to have that integrated. I know they have add-ons as well that you can buy for your server. So you can, and I will stop between all of this. So if you have questions, use the Q&A and or the chat. I think the Q&A is better. And people will let me know the questions and I will try to answer the best I can. All right. All right. Okay, so visually you can see what happened, the key events at TD Bank. Everything began in 2014, where it was mostly the Tableau reader that was used. I'm not sure if it's even existing anymore. I think it is, but it was used in the USA. And of course, Tableau were falling in love with Tableau. The users at TD Bank were falling in love with Tableau, of course, as a tool. But we didn't have yet at TD a server, an enterprise solution where people can just join a conversation about data and share their vises. It was not existing, and I was part of those Tableau users dreaming to have Tableau for everyone. So my dream, I remember in 2015, was really to have Tableau installed with Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and there you go. Everyone should have this tool, okay? And I got this call in 2016, and someone asked me, Julie, do you want to be part of the Tableau Center of Excellence? Of course, I want to be part of that. I was crying. And just between that, in 2015, we had the chance to install a very, very small server. It was a proof of concept, the smallest server you can think about. It was a local thing, a very unofficial for just trying the tool. And Tableau did offer, I remember, something like temporary just to try it. And we were supposed to have maximum 50 users, something like that. But I was promoting the tool and I wanted to have the tool at TD Bank. So we ended up with 500 users and more on this server. And right there, I was the admin with some of the colleagues in the team. And right at the beginning, we realized that we have to implement some rules because, you know, people will do whatever they want. So we had 3 sites. For one of the sites, we let one user to be admin of the site. And after 2 months, we got 25 admins suddenly. You know, people were naming themselves admin and doing whatever they want. So we already lost control of this small proof of concept just to try the tool. So we sit down and we were thinking, okay, how can we control everything? And we ended up with a series of roles and responsibilities that are still today the same, that the ones that were defined in 2016. So nothing changed in all those years, because right now we are able to control the way we want, and it's, you know, the audit team and all the teams that around data governance are happy about those rules. So I will talk about the detail about that later in this document. So in 2016, we did launch with success Tableau Server Enterprise. All employees at TD Bank were able, in theory, to access the server. We did upgrade in 2019, I think, because it was becoming more and more popular. And today, and I will just move the screen that is hiding my thing. And today we have around 1,000 users, concurrent user. It means in the same 15-minute bucket, we have sometimes 1,000 users accessing different views. And I will show you how we calculate that. For us, it's one of the most important metric, how many concurrent user we have, because this will indicate, you know, when the system is used, how it's used, and we can plan for maintenance and or restart better with this metric, because we have the concurrency every day, but not only every day, every hour. So we know when the system is used. And we can see when something happened, it's not used anymore. You can, you can see immediately what's happening. We have around 9,000 users visiting the server every day, and it's representing around 1 million accesses monthly. It's approximately 40,000 distinct users that are visiting the server monthly. We have 130 sites. So this is another thing I will explain. It's the model of security we decided to take. TD Bank is a large company. We are more than 90,000 users. So it's a lot of different teams, a lot of different line of business doing completely different things. So because of the security model we have, because we want the people to manage their own space, we decided to divide the server by space, and each space owner are responsible and accountable for their own content. So I will explain again a little bit later why we decided to go this way, but it was really to push the responsibility as much as possible on people, so we don't have to take this accountability and to provide, you know, everything when it's an audit, or, you know, because we didn't want to be responsible of the content. It would be impossible to manage for a small team to be responsible of that. And by site, it's easier because we have the owner, we have people that we call security managers, and they will take care of providing the proof of whatever they need, and we just track them. So we are a team tracking people mostly. And this is why it's possible for us to operate this system that is now huge with a limited number of people. So basically we have, for the support itself, we have 3 persons answering the support for the Tableau support, which is questions around the visits, helping them on the requirements, how to design a better view. I'm not able to open my desktop. I have this error message, what I do. So we will see if we can solve, and if not, then we will ask the production team to help. So this other team, they are, I believe, 5 persons-ish, 4 or 5, something like that. And they are taking care of only the technical stuff, security, accesses, efficiency of the server itself, installation, upgrades, things like that. So we have basically 2 teams now, and this is since 2018. We divided the responsibilities of each team, but I am Tableau Center of Excellence, and I take care of Tableau, the Tableau side of things only. So how to build a viz and help people with the process of delivering their visits. Do we have questions yet? No?
No questions
Okay,
yet.
perfect.
I was just going to ask Julie if somebody could post a question in the Q&A just to make sure that the settings are okay. And also that we had agreed that the first 3 questions asked get a prize. So if anyone wants to jump on that.
Kirk, you don't win
Kirk
because yeah. All right.
Thank you. The first 3 working. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can see, Kirk. Thank you. All right. So what was ready for the users when we launched this enterprise solution? So right at the beginning, we had this community built there and waiting for the users to just access and be part of. At TD Bank, we decided to use the connections community because first, it was there and free. So it's a free solution. So if you have in your organization a free place to share blogs and things like that, just use that. You need a place where people can just see what's happening and get interested in the tool. The other advantage of connections in our case is that when you participate and when you decide to be a member, we can email to you. So this is the main conduit to contact people and to email them with, what new version is incoming, what new features we have. Hey, by the way, we learned last week that this is more efficient than this. And so we communicate with the community every month to make sure they have like an interesting email with a very nice image and the news about Tableau at TD Bank. So we do that since the beginning. I think the first email I sent was to 5 persons, but now it's more than 3,000. So it's growing every year. You need to consolidate in this community if you want to have the users engaged and visiting this place. You need to share the best practices, the processes. Also, if you organize contests, you can announce that there. So everything related to Tableau, we push that in the community. We try to have the community very active. Some people asking, so you have like a blog or problem resolution where people can ask questions and answer? No, it's only for, like helping people on the process and things like that. We let the solution, the problems resolution on the web in the real Tableau community, external, because everything is there. So someone asked me recently, so do you want to create a knowledge bank eventually? Well, we don't need. Look at everything that is on the web. And when I don't know how to do something, I go there. So why to reinvent the wheel when everything is there and available for you? So when you build something, try to think about what is already there to not, have to redo everything. And building a community like that will help you mostly for your internal processes. And I will talk about the process we have for the delivery very soon. And to contact the user. If you can find a tool where you can have the list of the users you need to communicate with, it's not only the developer. We have a lot of managers participating in this community, and this allow us to contact those managers and say, hey, by the way, we have a contest incoming, and we invite all the teams to participate. So this will help, to activate your community. Soon after the launch of Enterprise, the skill belt was also available for users. I think 1.5 years later. This took multiple hours to organize that, but it worth it. So it's a program that is on Thrive at TD Bank. So it's a place where you can have the step-by-step learning module that people can follow at their own pace. And you can see we are still using Jedi, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, Grandmaster, because like Fraser at the beginning was explaining, this was awesome in the conference. I remember seeing the Jedi course. I was like, oh my God, I want to be in the course Jedi. So we kept this model. I don't think we will be in court for that because it's internal, so I'm okay. But this make people laugh and we get noticed because of that too. So try to always have a fun side when you try to onboard people and to activate the community. This is helping a lot. And so we have different levels and we have a great participation in that. So every week I will see some new youngling Jedi initiate that will level up. We don't have that many Jedi Knight and Master because it's requiring a lot of time to invest, but still we have some. I think we have like Jedi Master, I think we have 4 now, 4 or 5. So it's 1 per year approximately that will get to this level. But we have more and more, and it's involving a lot of, exam review and things like that. But it's good. We see a lot of people interested to have, their skills refined, and they are working to learn new things every week. We see action in there. Any questions so far for that? It's okay. All right. So the key elements for promoting best practice, I will talk about the rules we did implement at TD Bank, mostly what we call the loading time monitoring. We can monitor that because we have access to the backend loading time. I want to talk to Tableau and sit down with them because this is needed in all organizations, I think. You need to know how efficient are your reviews. On the screen, you have the process we are proposing to people. First important thing is critical to have the metrics defined and then to prepare the data the good way. So if you're trying just to dump the data over there and to just tell people connect to this data and you will have all your visits, ready and done, this will probably not work for a scope of multiple years. We will want your data aggregated the good way. And my role in the Tableau Center of Excellence with the team is really to sit down with people and say, look, you have 250 million row in your database right now, and it's growing. Don't tell me that your metrics for decision-making is requiring to have all of this data there for your users. So what are the questions you want to answer? When you open the first view, what are the questions and what decision-making you need to do? At this stage, usually the meeting will end because they don't know yet. So I'm telling people, don't try to prepare the data before knowing what questions you want to answer, because it's the reverse with Tableau. You need to prepare, what they want to know, decision-making, insights, the frequency, who is your audience, and then you need to slice and dice based on that. So this is the kind of work we do a lot each week with the team. We want to avoid huge grids on opening. So Tableau is not a data extractor tool. This is not the objective. At TD, we decided to have Tableau for visualization only, decision-making, metrics. That's it. So if you have a huge grid and you want to just browse your database, there are some other tools in the market for that. Okay, so people are shocked sometimes. I mean, oh my God, we wanted to replace the solution with Tableau, and the solution is just a grid and we can filter. So no, it's not a visualization. You have the wrong tool. You may be able to use Tableau Server, but I'm warning you, I will run after you if it's not efficient. And with a huge grid and huge data, good luck. You will receive an email very soon. So what you have on the screen, it's maybe a little bit small, but basically you have this blue data prep and development here that is involving the 10 seconds testing they have to do. So basically, when you are a publisher and you want to publish something on Tableau production, we have two environments, one for testing and one production. First, you need to be on the testing environment. You need to publish everything there first and to test for speed all your views. We have a testing process. Each developer will create a batch file and they will start this batch file to test the speed of their view. What we are doing in the backend, we are capturing the loading time of each view. And with the batch file method we are using, we are able to replicate what will be the loading time on a real life situation with multiple different users. So it's not only to call the link of the view multiple times, you need to call the link of the view with the refresh flag and ask Tableau, please refresh this view as I am a new user. And with 10 call, we realized that probably because Tableau is, slicing and dicing in memory in different zone, 10 concurrent user will represent what will happen in real life, even if you have 100 concurrent user. So we did calculation and math, and then we test in real life. And when I look on production on one view accessed by 200 users almost at the same time, and we check the testing done, we have 3 seconds different, 2 seconds different, and it's all good. So this method is kind of maybe archaic a little bit, but it's easy, and it's giving the publishers exactly what will happen in real life, and so we don't have emergencies on production, and the server is healthy. We have a healthy server that will provide fast response time for everyone. And this is the important thing. Remember, I talked about the first server we got in 2015, where I ended up with 500 users and 25 admin. Well, on this server, this is where I realized that when some views are very, very slow, the server is affected because it was so small that I saw immediately the impact of having a slow view or two. And I began to monitor the speed at this moment. And when I shut down the 3 views that were taking 60 seconds to load, not 16, 60, when I shut down those views, the server was up and running again and all healthy. So I sit down with management and I said, it's very important that we push for best practices for people. They need to deliver efficient view. If you plan to have a server for data exploration, data dump, and extract, plan for maybe another server dedicated for that, where it could be slow sometimes. We know it can happen, but they told me, no, at TD, we don't want data dump. We don't want to use extracts anymore. We want to go to, this method of sharing visualization and insights. It's very hard because people are, yes.
So maybe related to speed, I think Adrian actually has a question. He's asking published data sources versus integrated ones. I'm guessing he means like integrated in the dashboard. Best practices and process around that. Yeah,
excellent question. We have different patterns we allow people to use. So as soon you let's say you want to use embedded data in your workbook and you test for speed and then you publish on prod, it's permitted, but you will not be able to have a schedule on that. So this is the kind of restriction that we did implement because we didn't want to track at the workbook level. We wanted to have a visibility at the data. So we don't allow schedule workbook, we just allow schedule extracts, and the extracts must be published on the side by a specific role that we call a project lead, a data steward, a Tableau data steward. So some teams will leverage a special role for the data. Some teams are very small and they have like 2 publishers. They are data steward as well. In this case, they will do both publishing and data management. But we did separate the data role, and we did separate what is possible to do with the data. And for the speed, to get back to your speed questions, we don't see a major difference between a workbook accessing an extract sitting on Tableau versus a workbook with embedded data. It's usually 1 second difference, approximately. I was surprised by that. One big thing though, live connection. We are aware that live connection is very hard to have a good, speed result. So we advise people with the live connection, they need to have an excellent design. So we don't have an exception for live connection. They need to respect the 10 seconds loading time. If you're showing too much stuff with the live connection on opening, it's a total loss of resource anyway for the server. Think about that. Let's say you have 15 views on opening, but you don't know yet what the user wants to see, right? Then those 15 views may have generate already 25 requests, maybe more in your database live. So it's not worth it. You need to prepare what you will present to the user very carefully. And maybe the first page you will see is asking, who are you? Are you a manager that want to see the monthly results? Or maybe you are an executive that want to see the quarterly results. And then you redirect the user to the good dashboard. So this is why the first metric part here on the screen will help people to identify their audience. And we tell people, if you have a different audience, split your dashboard, because after that, the data preparation, the blue phase there, that will be easier because you will aggregate differently for your executives. You will aggregate by quarter and by month. So, each workbook will point to the good aggregation after, and it's easier. So because of the limitation of 10 seconds we have, people had to do that, had to do the exercise of sitting down with the requirements and teams they have to say, look, we will develop the dashboard for executives first and then for management, and they will be able to jump from one to the other. And when I explain that, people are, oh yeah, it makes sense, but they would not do this exercise if in the first testing, the result time would be, 30 seconds and they don't know, and they would continue to do this, the wrong way. So because of the 10 seconds, people are pushed to do it the good way. I hope I answered your questions. I will talk a little bit about the data pattern a little bit later. We'll try to accelerate a little bit. I don't know how many times.
Fuyo has a question actually, and you're about 25 minutes or 35 minutes, 25 minutes into it, so you got time still. Yeah.
Julie, I have a question. Just could you back up one slide about the huge grids? Is that a question of the number of marks that you have showing, do you think, or the amount of data?
I think it's about the number of marks, but I think I also observed that Tableau will prepare the grid for the scrolling, that will happen. So a lot of things are
like
loaded.
Caching.
Yeah. So the grids are very, and when I see a grid and I have this email saying, we have an issue with the speed. Yes, I know. I know you have an issue because I see all the filters at the top with all. We want to see all the database on opening, So right away I tell them, what do you want to show to who? I mean, what decision making is that? So those are usually, the top pitfall, and grids are slow when you have too many filters as well. So I saw a grid that was not too huge. It was about 500 rows, I think. It was not that big, but because of the filters, it was taking like 25 seconds to load. We were just waiting and waiting and waiting. All filters will have to load. And if you have some filters with these properties that is checked, which is context, the filter based on the context, based on other filter, it means that when a filter is loaded, the other filter will evaluate the first filter and the other as well. They will evaluate each other together all the time because they are trying to be, to show the values that are relevant only. This is the name of the option, relevant values only. So just by turning off some of the filters to show non-relevant values, because it was not really critical to have yes, no, relevant. Some filters, you don't need to have this option. So we gain like 12 seconds just playing with the filters and removing 2 of them. So it's really to try to pinpoint who will open that and why. And when people tell me they want their data and they want to download because they need the data, they don't need a visualization. Why do you put this data on Tableau Server? These people need Tableau. They need to be SME, subject matter expert. They need to sit down and just access the data. This is what you're telling me right now. Don't say no. You just told me. So we have this role on the server where you as a team will prepare the data. You will publish this data for the users, and they will access the data from desktop. So they don't need to download from a visualization you publish, from the view directly. They can use Tableau Desktop and simply use the connection that you provide over there or the extract that you provide over there. So this is a different role, and many teams are using that now because they realize that, yeah, it's true. I mean, we push this grid there so they can download and they have the data. So the only difference is the cost of the license. But think about the cost of having this resource on the server. So who will pay for that? It's the Tableau server team, right? So we want you to pay the license instead, I can assure you. So this is a battle between some teams sometimes, but it's worth it. I mean, the server will stay healthy for everyone if you just pay 2 licenses for your people, right? So they have Tableau, and you can even do a template for them. They have nothing to do. Well, some people are scared sometimes because, oh my God, no, they are not data people. Oh, I'm sorry, we are all data people. I see executives dragging and dropping, fields and filters, and they are happy with it. But I agree, to build a dashboard at the beginning, it's very complicated for them. They are used to Excel. So what you have to do is simply to provide them a small template, and this template will connect automatically to the data on the server, and boom, they have their local grids and maybe some vizzes you can make for them. They have nothing to do. They can just use the template you provide. So we have some alternative workaround like this that are excellent. It's, that will, they need that, they will have it, but it's not meant to be on server in this case. They just need to use the good tool. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thanks, Julie.
Yeah, and by the way, for the grid size, exactly in the tenant agreement that we send when you request a new site, we specifically tell people don't use a grid that is with more than blah 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 rows and more than blah 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 cells. I don't remember the number, but it's not that much. We just want them to be aware that they need to take care of that.
Awesome, thank you.
No problem. So quick filters, yeah. Workbook with unprepared data, yeah. Dashboards with too many worksheets, the same. So if you're trying to show all the metrics of all your company in one view, you must prepare the data very well and try to consolidate the big numbers. The big numbers you put at the top, that can be one worksheet, but you need to prepare the data. Or you can have 15 worksheets to show those 15 numbers, but it's not a good practice because for each worksheet, it's a different request that we start behind the scene, and Tableau will need to refresh the data, prepare everything 15 times. So you want to reduce the number of worksheets. And I saw projects in the past going from, those 15 worksheets at the top from one worksheet, and the loading time went from 30 seconds to 4 seconds. So it's worth it. And again, if you don't measure the loading time, and if you don't aware of, what time, how time consuming is everything, you will not notice and you will publish anyway. And when you think about that, the users that are on the other side, they will wait 25, 30 seconds each time they open your workbook. This is a cost, those people waiting on the other side. So if you have 2,000 people waiting 30 seconds every day, just calculate that. It's a cost. So it's not only for server, the health of the server, it's always think about the customer too. They need to be happy. They need to love your tool that you're providing. So it's, something to think about. This is the steps for developers to test their dashboard. You can see there the batch file that we are generating. I'm providing them with this Excel. They just copy paste the link of Tableau. There is a special way to do it. And then they just copy paste the text in a batch file, a text file, and they save. It's very quick. When I want to test something, let's say you have 3 views, 3 dashboards containing multiple workbooks. If you send me the link on the testing environment and you ask me, oh, can you do the testing or something? I can do that in less than 15 minutes. So it's not a hard process to implement. It's really 3 easy steps. They create the batch file, they run the batch file, and they go and see the results. And I have an example of result here, real life thing. It's for real. It's a site. I blurred everything because I cannot share anything, but you have on the site, I did this dashboard a few years ago. You see by default the last 3 days of testing, I think. Here I play with the slider to show 7 days. So you can see a lot of things were tested in 7 days. But usually you have only 3 days at a time, because the objective of the dashboard is to show the latest test you did, which is probably 15 minutes ago. Okay. So you see on the left side all the list of workbooks on the site you are on. And then on the right side, on selection of a specific workbooks, it will filter, or you can see all the views as well. You can see in red here, 1 view cannot make it on production. And it's sad because it's an executive view. They will have to work a little bit more. And they test a lot. So they try a lot of things. You can see 275 hits. So you need at least 10 hits to represent the real life. So you can see here at the bottom, the list of 10 hits with 3 seconds, 2 seconds. So it means that on real life today, if I go and look at the loading time of this view in average, I will have 1 second, 2 seconds approximately. If this view is intensively accessed, I will have 2, 3, 4 seconds like that. So they can publish, there is no issue, go for it. This one, don't publish it on production, or you will get an email from the team. Hey, you published recently a view that is very slow. You need to remove it. This is what we do. So every day we have a tool on production monitoring the speed as well. This tool is only for us. This is the tool you have on the screen right now. I put an alert on it. It means that I receive an email. If the speed of a view is detected with more than 12 seconds. So I give people 2 seconds. I'm great. I give them 2 seconds because it's an average. So sometimes, you will have 11, 12, and it's okay. It's not a big deal. But you have on the screen a good example of a first view that is suddenly 14 seconds, and what is very cool with this view, I think I have a screenshot of that. When I mouse over, I can see the history of this view over time. And usually when we have this case on the screen where it's not a new dashboard and it's 14 seconds, you can see that the view slowly grow over time, over months, because they are adding data. It means that they didn't test with a realistic amount of data. So this is another thing we tell people, please test with a realistic amount, because if you test with 1 month and in 12 months you have 12 months, I'm sorry, but the data is very different. So you need to plan for the future, and on the testing environment, create a fake data, try to have, what you will have, and try to scope your data. You cannot have 5 years after 5 years unless you plan for it, all right? So it's really important. You have this case here where it's a 55 seconds. Sometimes this will happen and immediately we reach to the person. We can see in history that usually it's 3 seconds, something happened. Oh, they forgot this checkbox for the live connection on. So it's a mistake. They wanted to refresh a workbook, but it was live connection by mistake, and my tool immediately detected it. So they fix, they republish, and it's solved. So this issue will now be visible because we have this type of monitoring. And the last example, the number 3, is an example of someone that tried to not test and to publish and not meeting the requirements. In this case, we just contact this team and tell them that we will remove the view immediately. Usually they proceed to testing. They usually are able to see what they did wrong. All the filter were at all. So they play with the filter and they are able to republish the day after usually or the same week, and it's solved. So again, not everyone is able to have this kind of process, but if you are able to pinpoint, at least with the admin tool, if you are on cloud, all the views that are slow, and you have a process behind the scene to sit down with these people and explain, look, you are affecting the server. It's way too long, for users to wait 35 seconds, and we need to do something about that. Do it. It's worth it. This is the view. You see the axis here, and this is for real a view not that far away, but every day this is the view I have. On all the access on the server daily, those are the only view over 10 seconds. And usually I have just 1 or 2 over weekly. All the views on the server are under 10 seconds. So it's amazing. And we really keep this process, up to living process. Every day we reach to people, we delete things and they learn. So it means that they are getting better and better because we have more and more workbooks published on the server every day. This is the trend I was talking about. So you can see the story, and you can use this story when we contact the user. We say, hey, look, your reviews were awesome in August and September, but look what happened in November. What happened? You need to do something about it. So sometimes people will change things, will update the workbook, add a new view, and this view was not tested. Sorry, you need to go to testing, even if you have, if you're using the same data. So it's another example. Now, before talking about the security, do we have questions? No?
Nothing open right now.
All right. So data pattern and security limitations. So we have different ways to publish things. Like I said, you can publish with your data embedded. We will not stop people doing that, of course, because I consider Tableau like a mix of PowerPoint and Excel at some limit, because you want to present something. The only difference is it's interactive, but I'm sorry, but in PowerPoint, you can do some action too. It's interactive too. If you go, you can go far. Tableau is just more powerful and you have data inside, but in PowerPoint, you can have data too. You can have an Excel and graph in PowerPoint. So at some point, it's not different. Where it's different is when you want to schedule something. You have a live connection. You want to automate things. In this particular case, we ask for data centralization. You need to prepare your data, and this will push for this best practice, in fact, because if you want to schedule, you don't have any choice that to have this data there for your other developers. Ha! So this will force people to have the data prepared, published, and there for people, and they need to activate this data with a special ID, of course, because of the governance we have. But this is good because when we are contacted and people are asking, oh, what are the data connecting to this server and this type of data database and everything, It's super easy because we know that everything that is connected is outside the workbooks. So we can list all the data source like that. We have a visibility on that. We don't care about the workbooks. They cannot be on schedule. So it's a huge thing for us because we have more than 18,000 data elements on server. This is a lot. When we begin to do lists for checking things, it's huge. So having this visibility on what data sources are there, what are they connected to, we just toss away the workbooks because we know it's not connected. It's, you know, embedded and static. You know, they need to republish if they want to update. If you want a schedule or something live, the data will be apart. The other thing we did create and we did limit are those roles. So we have viewers, so they cannot download data. They can filter at least. It's the only thing they can do, I think. They can cry over your viz as well. But we have interactors. So this is the most common role. So they can download the data from a bar chart and things like that. SMEs, this was integrated in 2018. Like I said, they can from desktop connect to a data. Publishers, they can publish things, but they cannot publish a data. So the teams that will need to do this distinction between preparing a data and activating a data will be named, data stewards instead of publishers. Some teams, like I said, they only have project lead or data steward, and it's okay because they are a small team. So you cannot create a folder. You cannot assign security by yourself, and you cannot enter password for the data sources. This is huge. It means that to activate something more official or to, have something new on your site regarding the security, you will need to use the portal that you have on the screen right now and to request a new folder and to request the activation of your data. So we built this portal right at the beginning as well. It was with another look. It was a big pie chart with all the services. Blah. Now it's better. It's a bar chart. But people will access that. And you may think, we cannot create our own folder. Think about that. A best practice on Tableau, in my opinion, should be to consolidate everything by audience. If you have a specific audience, they will need to access the same metrics. So all the workbooks dedicated to this audience should be under the same rules, under the same umbrella for the same AD group and the same visibility. So why to split them in different folders? There is no reason. And I show them in Tableau that you can view all the views all together. You can view all workbooks all together. The folders are not important. I tell people, don't think about folders. It's not a file explorer. Okay, it's very different. Tableau, it's a link you will send in the email that will open the dashboard directly, maybe. This is a good way to send your workbook. But more than that, people will want their favorites. They will want to organize their thing differently. So just see folders they are there just to manage security only. So you can name your folders management metrics, executives meeting, internal team metrics. And there you go. You have your 3 audience in 3 folder and your 65 workbooks will be there. And people say, yeah, but how they will find things? I'm showing them to use tags and to use a good naming convention too. So this limitation will actually help people to organize better things on Tableau Server, and we reduce a lot the number of folders, and we reduce a lot the complexity of the security as well, because security will work by folder and AD group is mandatory. It means you need one AD group for your developers and AD group for your audience as well. And you simply assign this set of AD group to the folder with one email to the production team in this portal. So the process is simple, it's fast, and it's so easy to understand the security after that because it's by folder. When you see manager metrics, you know that the AD group is the AD group of manager. Duh. You have a a special collaboration with some external team, you know, for a year or two, you create a new folder. It's a new audience. You will have specific workbooks in this new folder with this other ADDI group that will come in, and you don't have to think, oh my God, what they will see, because they are not manager, they are not executives. They will see just what they have to see in their folder, and boom, it's over. So it's easy to list as well for us when people are asking questions about, you know, what is the security that we have, and how many time I have? Like 1 minute, right?
Well, yeah, we're out about 1 hour into it now. So, and
okay, I will stop there.
Yeah.
But you will have in the deck, you have the concurrency view that I really like here with the little fire. So it means that at 3 p.m. you had 1,035 people accessing views on server suddenly. I really like this view. We have tooling around statistics. We did offer self-service statistics to user as well. So we built a view for them. And the new tool you have here is to monitor the data source refresh that we have. The really cool thing is that if you select a site that has a lot of refresh of the data, you can see that every day we have a 1 hour refresh, but it's not used. So we are able to drill down from the site to the data, to the usage, and contact people and say, look, in the last 40 days, you got 160 refresh of your data, but it was not accessed by any user. So we will shut down your schedule. Thank you. Merci, au revoir. So this is the next process we need to implement for the hygiene of the server. Cleaning the server is super important, of course, especially for the schedule and data. You don't want to have, you know, old things running there for nothing. So you need to be aware of who is using this data and how, so you can clean better. If you have questions for the usage, how it's built behind the scene, I have technical information I can send you. So you just have to contact me, and it will be a pleasure to send you information. I even have an example of workbook, I think.
Great, thank you. So do you want to jump into questions like right away then? So we had Carol is asking, what was the longest opening time for a workbook that you encountered? And do you use the performance recording in Tableau?
We don't use the performance recording on production. We allow the performance recording on the testing environment, of course. And the longest time I saw is 200 seconds today. But it was a live connection checkbox that they did forget. So for a real, so it doesn't count. The real highest loading time I saw for a real dashboard was 45 seconds. It was visualizations, a lot of visualizations with blending. So the blending was horrible for the loading time. So I had to change the relationship and to move things around, but it was really in the 40 seconds.
Our attitude to blending is avoid at all costs.
Oh, so. Yeah, me too. It's one of the first recommendation. Yeah.
Yeah. Question, Mauricio asked, do you think you'll ever move to Tableau Online, and what would change?
No, I don't think we will move on Tableau Online. We have our own solution on cloud, so we are managing on cloud ourselves. It's a bank, so I think because of the regulation and everything, they want to manage everything, you know, inside, and I totally understand why, because it's sensitive information, and so I think for the future years we will stay with this model that is very successful for us.
I can also comment, like I brought this up here while you were talking, and I noticed that there's actually some new content here. So on Tableau Online, they call it the admin insights, and they give you some data connections. It's not as good as what Julie's accessing, because she's going direct to like the Tableau internal databases to get that. But they do have some information about, like, it's the TS events one. here in the corner. So if you are on Tableau Online, you can get some of the same data. It's just not to the same depth as what she's been showing here today. So
yeah, people cannot access the Postgres tables like
right.
we are doing, right?
Yeah. So it's they expose those data connections and admin insights are like an exposure of the Postgres tables, but it's more limited, and they don't refresh. Like it's not like a live kind of connection the same way as accessing it directly. Kevin, question is for versioning, do you use any external repositories such as Git? So I'm guessing that would be like for your workbooks and some of the content on your server.
What we tell people for versioning and keeping the history of their workbooks, keep it simple. So the old method of having one network folder for each version you released with the documentation about what are the changes and what is the data structure for this version is working perfectly fine. If you have a TWBX, especially, you know, in this kind of versioning tool, it's horrible. I mean, you're trying to see the difference between 1 and 0 in the zip file, so it's not really relevant. I personally use SharePoint, not SharePoint, but yeah, SharePoint. The SharePoint versioning is excellent as well, because you just drop, you know, the version of your workbook. If your data is huge, you scope it. If the data is embedded, of course. So I usually do an extract of, you know, 1 day, just to have a version of the workbook that is small and I can refresh, but I keep the versioning description and the documentation in parallel on SharePoint. But for any development team, I mean, the old ways are very good. I know I sound like I'm 75 now, but yeah. I do batch files and versioning with network. There you go. We are 2022, but it is working well. It's working well. And I know at TD, at least when you push a file on the network, you have history as well. If you lose or delete by mistake, you can, you know, get the file back, which is excellent. You cannot lose anything. On the server itself, we have the testing environment and production. On the testing environment, we always say to people, let your latest version there. It's kind of a good backup, right? Always keep the latest version. You can maybe keep one backup ahead if you want, but you should have everything on network.
Okay, next question here is how do you go about row level security, and what's your best practice or recommendation method on implementing row level security? I guess the first part would be just, are you guys doing anything with row level security right now?
Yeah, we are doing a row level security in the workbook. Of course, I think if my memory is good, you can, the new feature of security on the data, you require this add-on, right? You need the add-on installed if you want to have that at the data source level.
I'm not sure if it's an add-on or it's part of the core product, but yeah,
I think it's not part. Yeah.
Like it's, yeah, the user roles and stuff is definitely newer functionality versus just implementing it at the workbook level.
Yeah, so all the teams right now are implementing in the workbook. Best practice, I'm telling them, try to avoid, you know, user by user with this huge condition. If it's George, or if it's Nancy, or if it's Julie in a huge condition like that. So avoid that. Usually try to have one filter on the fields, on the content, and with the member, the function member of, you know, AD group. Don't try to have 45 AD groups there. Organize your AD groups so you have 1 or 2 main AD groups and one that is admin. So your condition will be, if it's admin, development, whatever, then true. Else, then you have maybe 3 condition and boom, you're good to go. So try to have something simple. Or if it's by user, you will have 1 condition. If it's those AD group, then true, or your field is equal to the user. Yeah, so yeah. Simple and fast.
We did, if you use the noodle, so like one of the things, if you're doing like a join against like your user listing, you're going to blow up your row count, which is obviously going to be really bad for performance. But if you're using the noodle to make your relationship between two tables, then you kind of avoid that. Kirk also commented that it's definitely in the add-on, so it's not part of the core functionality. The next question here was just, are you guys doing anything with Tableau flows and scheduling that on the Tableau server? I think the answer is no, probably that you're not.
No, so I think there are some add-ons we don't have yet. All the budget went to Tableau powerful machine. We have one of the most powerful machine in Canada, but all the add-on, we do it ourselves, but it's working fine. But for the scheduling though, it's a service in the portal. So people will, activate their data set and then request a schedule, but we don't have a data prep. We don't have that. And they don't want to offer that to the users because the objective of TD is to get away from file, and they want people to use the ETL in the database side. So because users will build a monster from 14 Excel downloaded from 14 different systems, right? They will do it. If they can. So this is why they don't want to implement data prep. They want to have a formal ETL in a formal database instead.
So we're just saying there are still a couple questions coming in here, more and more. As we answer questions, more are coming in. So if let's maybe we'll put a hold on questions for now, and we'll do the Kahoot, do the prizes, and then we can come back and ask more questions afterwards.
Absolutely.
I have a couple questions too that I wrote down after your talk, so I want to get my questions in there as well.
I will answer all your questions. Be sure of that. Just make sure someone send them to me. But yes, I will.
Yeah, we'll keep them open. Yeah, you can keep asking your questions during the Kahoot time, and then we'll just come back to this right after we wrap that up. So is it Candace that we're going to turn it over to host the Kahoot
Yeah,
here?
so I'll share my screen and I'll start the Kahoot. So just hang in there. I'll just set it up first. And okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, can everybody see my screen now?
I can still see the
it's
queue.
coming through
It's
now.
coming.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, now you can?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so everybody sees the game pin there. So if you can enter, you go to Kahoot it and Kahoot IT and enter that game pin, and then we'll get going. I'll start typing it into the chat as well if anybody's looking for it.
Seven 703 2608.
I'm going to use an alias to join because they told me I can't win, but I only saw one of the questions.
Well, you didn't see the answers too, right? But you still can't win.
That's true. I didn't see the answers. Okay. It's okay. I'm going to conference. I'll get some swag there.
Okay.
I've seen all the questions and all the answers, and I won't join.
Okay.
I'm usually not very good at that. I'm stressful and click everywhere I should not.
We've got 25 attendees and 17 are on the Kahoot so far. Or 25 attendees left and 17 are in the Kahoot.
Okay.
So
Let's roll.
So just give it another minute then, and we'll get this show on the road. Just.
Oh, there's
Oh.
20 that are included that are panelists and the total attendees, so I think we're good.
We're good? Okay. All right, here we go then.
is very exciting.
Yeah, I know. So it's a combination of Canadian trivia and Tableau trivia. So. Okay, 8 seconds.
Your answer's in.
2, 1. Mark Garneau. Woo, woo. Okay, next question. Oh, sorry, scoreboard. Oh, Julie. There you go.
Only 3 people got that right?
Oh, I thought it was 4.
You need to be old.
3 people. Okay, new feature alert. What does the */ allow you to do in calculated fields?
I was analyzing the formula for a few seconds.
Oops,
You know.
sorry. Whoa, look, 12 people. That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Okay, well done. Oh,
That,
Oh,
that
Church,
is, that is
come
a
on.
great new feature. I didn't even, I didn't know that that existed, and now I'm excited.
okay, Kurt can't win either. So come on, you guys. You can pull it out. Which of these functions does not have a dedicated button in Tableau Desktop toolbar?
Oh, fun.
I'm not sure.
4, 2, 3. Oh, yep, create a parameter.
Oh,
I got that one. That was the first one I got right.
Ooh, KH. Awesome. Surprising. Okay, number 4. This is a fun one. Select all that apply.
mm.
Woohoo! It was all of them.
Oh.
Ooh, we have some risers here. Excellent. How many show me chart templates are there?
That's tough.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at this answer, actually. I went back and counted.
Oh,
Yeah, it's more than you think, eh? Yeah.
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 All right, JL is on the rise.
I'm
Okay.
long gone. I'm long gone.
Oh, no. Okay, what first province in Canada to give women the right to vote? Ooh, lots of people are chiming early on this one.
Oh.
Manitoba.
Oh.
Yep.
And that has the name man in it. Wow.
RR has an answer streak of 3. Well done. Okay, what year was Tableau software founded? So everybody that's been using Tableau since the beginning, you must know.
Yeah, but the first year, I think they had only 12 users.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
2003.
I was sure it was 2001. Damn it.
Oh. Awesome. Question 8. Yeah. So there's 2 answers to the no, okay, so this is the modern era, right? Of the NBA, the actual NBA. So when did the NBA actual NBA come to Canada? $1995.
Oh.
And we do
I
know
will
that
never have those Tableau socks. I dream of.
Okay, so this is just a open-ended question. So just poll questions, so you guys can just ask them our.
I vote all Kahoots all the time.
Yeah.
The question will be, are we going to have a Kahoot at the conference?
Woohoo. Yeah. Oh, tips and tricks are really popular. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's always fun.
Yeah, always that way, right? So who's going to Tableau conference?
Can't wait to see the pictures of the big thing, like the opening.
I
How
know.
many people will be there? Yeah, I'm curious.
Oh, most people are going virtually. Oh, Fraser. There you are.
I'm the only one.
Well, if anybody wants to go virtually, we should maybe put the link in the chat and all. KH, congratulations.
Woohoo!
JL, number 2, well done.
And when,
We will shift that, right?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whoever
It's
Kurt
Kurt
is, whoever
Carroll.
Kurt is the wins the prize. So because Kirk is ineligible. So so whoever JL are and KH, if they could contact Roland or Fuyo in the chat while we finish up the questions, just so we can make sure you get your prize.
yeah, we
Awesome.
appreciate that. If you can direct message, that'd be great.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing my screen and we can
Go back from Kahoot to Q&A. Okay, so we'll just continue down the list and keep going. The next question that came in was, how are you using tags for users to find their dashboards?
Yeah. So tags are really amazing, by the way, because what I show in sessions, when I have sessions around, how to use server, how to leverage best practices for your users. First, of course, I say to people, try to send or to have the list of links of important dashboards that you send embedded where you don't have the Tableau environment for them, so they don't get distracted or they don't end up in the wrong one. All right. But for people that are more with skills for searching and have their favorite and they are using the Tableau environment a little bit more, I tell them to list as a team the tags and the category, the category of reporting they have. So let's say you have some performance around, I don't know, the teams, or you have different type of metrics, different category of metrics. In your metric definition, when you begin to create a project, you will have category of metrics and even data source, you're pulling the information from. So you can build your category around that. And then when you publish your views, you can tag at the view level or at the workbook level as well. So you can have a set of category for the workbook, which will identify what kind of workbook is it, what category of metrics you will find. But more than that, you can have views with tag as well. Once you have that, you can link the view, all the views from one tag in the URL you will provide to your user. So you can organize a homepage and showing what categories you have on your site. And when they click on a category, they will see all workbooks from this category in one link. So how to do that? It's really easy. You navigate to your exploration view, let's say at the workbook level. So explore all workbook. Then you set up your tags if you don't have them. So you can assign tags in the workbook. You have the option over there. Then you search for this tag and you will see in the URL at the top, you will have tag equal something. So you can copy paste this link and use it, and the user will automatically see all the workbooks with this tag that he can access. So he will only see what he can access in one click for one category, which is amazing to have an home page built from, because you don't have to rebuild your own page. All the categories there will remain the same. You make sure to not change category every day, okay? But when you publish something new, you will have this tag. Make sure your stuff is tagged properly, and then boom, you have nothing to do. The users using your link with the tag will see everything in one click. So explore this way of doing things. It's really easy to try, and multiple teams are leveraging that in their own area.
Great. That's I think that's like an underused feature on
Absolutely.
the dashboards, is like the tags, and even just putting in a description in that description box, because that does like show up in the search, and users can make use of that. So that's yeah, definitely an important thing. The next question here was just curious if you've ever had to change or reconfigure the number of VizQL processes on the nodes to improve the performance, or is the resource use pretty stable because of your great governance process that you have?
Well, we have a great governance, and honestly, we have a lot of nodes. It's huge. I mean, when I look at the server views, the monitoring things, there are red square everywhere over the panel, and we have to scroll to see all the nodes. It's huge. And the VizQL is, propagated everywhere. I think the backgrounder is on only 1 or 2 nodes somewhere. Honestly, we didn't change anything yet because the server was very performant. And because of the way we are working, the monitoring of the speed, when you think about that, let's say you have 1,000 users accessing one view, okay? And this view is not optimized. So this view will take more resources than it's supposed to be. It means that it's like you don't have 1,000 users. It's like you have 5,000 users, right? So, and Tableau is, I think, planning the number of users for an average view, which is not the perfect one, right? So because of that, because we ask people to almost deliver perfect views all the time, we can host more people on the server. So this is why I think we don't have issue yet. I will touch wood. Oh my God, I don't have wood in my room. Oh, yes, there. But yeah, it's going well because of that. Probably it's a part of the success of the server. It's robust because we are underusing it, probably.
Great. So I'm going to jump ahead one because it's related. The question was just, I'd love to see more information on how to speed up dashboards. I went to a Tableau conference session, it was quite a few years ago, and they were, the guy had a little tagline throughout the presentation. He would say 8 is great. So he wanted everything to be under 8 seconds. So your 10 seconds is even more generous than that. But I know there's resources out there in the forms of Tableau conference sessions where that topic has come up. But like, do you have aside from what we've discussed here, some other resources or places for information on how to speed up dashboards?
Yeah, so the document that was released a few weeks ago, months ago, how to build efficient dashboard is really technical and a complete document, 100-page by Tableau. So I have this document on our SharePoint site in the resource list, of course, but it's too much for the regular publisher that just want to have quick tips. So we also have a live session. We are constantly providing, giving all the pitfalls that usually you will have. In top position, you have too much quick filters, grid, not visualization, blending, data not prepared. So we did list, we have 1-pager with all the pitfalls like that, but it's constantly the same list. If you look at a document from 2015, when you look in Google for how to do efficient dashboard, you have a list, like a list of everything with checkbox. It's a 3-page document. It's still valid. It's still, showing the things you should do and take care when you deliver something. Basically, if you stick to visualization, if you try to use actions and parameter actions instead of huge quick filters filled out with 26,000 customer names, you should not have any issue. If you have visualization and you have issues, you probably use blending. So it's a data prepare thing. So you have this data thing and visualization. One thing that surprised me over the years is to discover that if you don't clean the fields you're using, you are impacting the loading time. I had this workbook once that has, you know, like 100 fields in there, a lot of fields. And when you use this option, hide unused fields, you will see a lot of fields will suddenly disappear from your list of data sets. So they will disappear, and the first time you will freak out and say, oh my God, I lost my fields. But no, you can show hidden fields back. But the difference of speed between before and after you hide the unused field, it was amazing. I think I just gained 14 seconds hiding fields unused. So all the calculation you're not using, remove that. Try to remove all the action. You know, when you try to set up actions, they will accumulate somehow in the set. You have this set section. Try to clean this up too. By the way, what I don't know, the new version we have is 2021.3. There was a little bug with the hide unused field. The sets would gray out even if they are used. So just be aware that don't delete everything. Take a backup. Okay, when you clean something, take a backup before, okay? And then you will gain a lot of speed just by cleaning your workbook. Try to avoid fixed expression. I see people doing fixed expression like, you know, all the time. Why it's fixed? I don't know, it's easy. Yeah, there you go. So don't do that. And, you know, by the way, knowing your filters, it's critical for the speed. A fixed expression will not react to regular filter. So people will do fixed expression and then they will implement context filter. Well, context filter will take more time if you have too much. But if you have one context filter to remove a big bunch of data from your data, then you will gain some speed. So it depends on what is your data, what is the filters you have, why you use context. Maybe you can change your fixed expression for exclude and include instead. So those are important aspects of the work, and we give live session about that. Parameters, action parameters, how to avoid quick filters, how to, you know, when I have a date to select, I hate to see this drop down with all the months. I hate that, really. I really hate that. Stop doing that. You can have this cool top viz, very small, that is so useful to see the whole picture of a situation because you have all the months over there. And you can show the number of tickets for each month. And when they select a date, then you filter for this month. It's way fun. and it's better than a quick filter. So always start your project thinking about action and viz instead, and do the quick filters at the end. Usually in my projects, I end up with 0 or up to 3 quick filters, and that's it. Everything else is an action on click. You can keep what was clicked in the parameter, which is amazing, and it's efficient. So do that.
That's we've done things too, like refactoring dashboards to remove filter or use parameters to filter stuff out. And yeah, it's definitely, like, I think having that focus on speed and performance is gonna really also help adoption, because that can be a big barrier for users having to wait there. We've experienced that and had to go back, and, like, you know, customers would make a dashboard and we've gone and done like performance tuning on that, just like you said, like those same things to try to make it load faster. And it definitely results in a better experience.
The tooltip is underused as well. The viz and tooltip, it's so amazing. I mean, to know history of things, you know, over time, you can have this tiny, you know, dots over time, like what I show you, you know, the loading time over time. You see at a glance 2 years of loading time for this workbook, just overing things. It's wow. I don't need to filter for 2 years, to filter for a workbook, to filter for something. It's there on hover. Wow.
So the Rupert's been waiting a long time to get his answer. He was just asking, what do you use to do for your ETL work for publishing data to use in Tableau? Are you using like an Alteryx or
It
a
will be
third-party process?
Alteryx. Yeah, it's funny because another tool was selected by the management, I think 2 years ago. I don't remember the name. I'm not good with name, but at this time I remember Alteryx, community already started rogue on the community sites, and people were falling in love with Alteryx. Like, it reminded me how people fell in love with Tableau. People like to work with Alteryx, and so they did revert the decision. Finally, they will go with Alteryx all the way, and it's implementing enterprise right now, I think.
Great. And then the next one, is it best practice to organize the sites by department or group? And I'm going to jump in and say, like, whatever you do, make sure you think long and hard before making sites, because it's very hard to undo and change sites versus changing projects around.
Exactly. So
yeah,
we take the path of creating a site for people, but before they create a site, they have a form to fill and we ask questions. So basically, if, I don't know, George is contacting us and asking, oh, I need a site. So, whoa, whoa, are you sure you need a site? We try to have sites organized. In our case, we have to organize by security management and by data. So if you want to share the same data, you have the same set of metrics approximately, you're sourcing from the same place, you need to think about data centralization, and from one site to the other, you cannot share the same data. So this is a huge thing. So you need to, if you really want to feed your workbook from something already there, because we are pushing for data centralization, maybe your best move is to join an existing site, and have your own folder inside. So we are beginning to do this more aggressively. At the beginning, we don't know, we will create sites. So what's happening right now, we have sites that will merge together. So the merge is kind of easy though, because I say to people, I have a template for that. I say to people, you need to select what will be the main site that will remain there. Everything else, you say to your publisher to republish in the new site. And there you go, we can decommission the others. So they have to do it, of course, but we have more and more sites consolidating things together. The only thing that they need to be able to do is to manage their security by site. If they are not able to, just by themselves to say, look, we have those 3 persons managing the sites, they are what we call security manager. If it's impossible for them to do that because they don't know this initiative, we don't know the team, we never know, it's too different, they are kind of working on totally different things, then we will create a site.
Yeah, that's we've seen some refactoring happen in the past because sites are created and then, oh, we want to use that data source in multiple places. And that's
in our case, the site is really an important entity related to ownership. So you have the site owner and then security managers that will take care of the security of the site, and then it's their stuff. So if they are accountable for the data that will be published there. So if someone wants to join a site to publish a lot of initiatives, the security manager may say, look, I don't know what you want to publish. I don't know you. So no, go away. So this is the only thing that can happen and happening. Sometimes we have 2 sites. We have, as an example, LOB1 and LOB1 blah, blah, because they are just don't want to talk together. They are not related and they will start different initiatives. But it's not that bad because usually it's different reporting initiative completely and different audience. So it's not too bad.
great. I think we don't have any other questions being posted here. So we'll just look to wrap things up. So thank you so much, Julie, for the presentation and answering all the questions. That was great. I think like Tableau Server was in the title of the talk, but I think a lot of that applies very universally, and it was really good to kind of see your process for how you go through the publishing, and that you were able to share that. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
if people ask questions, they can reach to me. I'm on LinkedIn, so you can search for Sauvageau Tableau, and I will appear with my, I think I have my purple hair on LinkedIn. So.
All right. And so I guess the one thing, just as we wrap up, I wanted to mention and talk about is that this is a across Canada user group, and you can go to the user group site off the Tableau website and sign up to get notified for future events that are happening. There are user groups in many different cities in Canada. And all the user groups are always looking for people to participate or to speak. So you can find out if you go through the user group site who the leaders are, and ask questions. If you're interested in presenting, interested in helping to organize, it would be great. Toronto has a session coming up in June. So that's still a couple months away. Edmonton, we're looking at probably late June, before kids get out of school, to hopefully get something organized to have a user group meeting. So that's please get involved, and if you have something to share, please share with the user groups. And I guess that's pretty much it for today's. Roland, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Well, thanks everyone for attending. I know we ran a little bit over, but this was well received and great information. And thank you, Julie Tableau, for presenting, and Fraser for taking the time to host this week. I really appreciate it. So thank you both.
It was very
Thanks,
fun.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.